So I hope you've been having a fun time here, hearing the brumming and cars. And let's see here. It is chapter 4, right? Yes. We have gotten our message, and did we do anything about it? Yes.
Gracie. Gracie.
Okay, we've done the message. We have talked with the demon. Ah, right, with the warlocks. I like to call them warlocks. Let's go to the church. No, the mayor. That's right.
Guess they're closed.
Okay. Oh, right. This is open.
That's the church in the square.
Oh. There's a bed here. With a snake below its pillow.
Von Rollick slept here.
Vision? No. Ghost!
Did I mention that Gabriel is a pig? Verna Huber says that Gabriel's case concerns werewolves.
Post office.
I don't want to disturb her. Gerda's being a real pig about those car keys. Gerda's being a real pig about those car keys.
Yes, but we need to drive, right?
I wonder what Gerda's up to. I don't want to go. The castle looks huge from here. I think it'll be quicker to go back the way I came. The castle, the castle looks. Ritter ancestors, I assume. Like the lion on the Ritter and. I'll write to Gabriel, soon as I have enough info to blow his little investigation out of the water. It wasn't worth picking up the first. Who should I call? Professor Barkley will call when he finds out something. I wish I could read these biographies of Ludwig. Wait a minute. Ludwig II, fairy tale king of Bavaria. I didn't see this before. Yep, English. Huh.
The book looked completely different after we picked it up. It was a grey book, then it became a yellow book. Oh wait, why am I sitting here again? Oh, it's a blue book now.
Ludwig remained throughout his life both very bright and very naive. He was an introvert who seemed to be constantly out of sync with traditional views of rulership, money, and human relationships. The world ever failed to match his ideals. Perhaps this was a fault of his sheltered upbringing as future king. He never was introduced to the real world, and the real world failed to interest him as an adult. In his youth, Ludwig was in fine physical condition and loved to hike alone in the Alps and ride horses. He had a hunting lodge, Schahen, specifically for this purpose. Unfortunately, in 1872, a rather traumatic hunting accident befell the king at Schahen, and his leg was cruelly damaged. He never fully recovered from this incident, and his hiking and riding ceased. His physical health deteriorated from that time on, and explains why he looked so unhealthy in later years. A hunting accident? Other than his long-standing friendship with the Empress Elizabeth of Austria and with his mother, the relationships Ludwig attempted with others were nearly always a disappointment for him and a bewilderment for his partners. He would become obsessed with someone, a singer, an artist, a nobleman or a peasant, and would bombard them with gifts, praise, and favors. When they would fail to return the depths of rapturous passion he required, the singular adoration and humble obedience he expected, he would grow disappointed and cut himself off from them. The objects of his interest were occasionally women, usually ones he fell in love with after seeing them in idealized roles on the stage, but they were more often young men who fit his fantasies of the heroic sagas like Lohengrin and Parsifal that he so loved. A good example of the king's obsessive behavior in relationships is the following letter from the Königlich Bayerische archives, which this author was privileged to access. It is dated 1864, and it was written by Ludwig's manservant, Paul, to a friend. The king has been in high mood these days. The reason, of course, is a new interest. Thursday last, the king attended a performance of Lohengrin in the Wittelsbacher Theater. He came back in a fever, demanding that a man be found. The man, it was gathered, had been sitting in a box across from Ludwig and had drawn the king's attention by his beauty and his deep emotional response to the performance. The king declared that here at last is a sensitive soul. The man was tracked down and brought in for an audience. Upon my word, never have I seen any mind so in line with His Majesty's own. They discussed Wagner and France and Byron and all manner of things until long past dawn. The young man, beautiful indeed to look upon, met the king's enthusiasm and knowledge bit for bit. His Majesty has been in the thick of it ever since, and while I welcome his good temper, I grow tired of fetching letters back and forth to Louis, so called by His Majesty, that should tell you who the young man looks like, at all hours of the night. This author has not been able to learn much about Louis, but he was known to have been a seemingly high-bred foreigner, and he was involved with Ludwig as late as 1880, when he fell into disfavor. The king, especially later in life, felt a great deal of guilt about his sensual nature. His diaries are full of repentant entries begging God for forgiveness and swearing to remain pure. In many of the diary entries, he swears to abstain from sexual relations. The number of these oath entries indicate that Ludwig was not very successful in resisting temptation, yet it is also clear that Ludwig was a God-fearing man and that, though his flesh might occasionally fall, he never surrendered his heart and his conscience to sin.
Hmm. Alright.
Nothing else I can use. Nothing. There's nothing else. There's no. There's. There's. There's.
They
There's.
might say that
There's.
there's
There's.
nothing else,
There's.
but it has been
I'm not.
disproven in the
I'm not.
in
I'm
the
not.
past.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what other case
Okay,
books would.
good. That was the only one in this case. We should go and ask around a bit about Ludwig.
I don't have anything to say to. I don't have anything.
Okay. They are closed.
I wonder what.
Okay then, let's see if she can write a mail to the person.
I'll write to Gabriel. Soon as I have enough
Okay, we
info.
don't have enough info. The phone is not calling.
It wasn't.
So then we kind of need to drive to that castle that they were talking about earlier. The question is, how do we even get there? We cannot go. We cannot go to her to Gred's room, and we cannot try to pick it up from the table. We have been everywhere, so it's kind of hidden somewhere. I take it. Okay. We have to make a magic encounter. So that's what they meant with I wonder what Greds is doing. Okay. Let's go to the back.
Gerda's here. I wonder what she's up to. Oh my god. Gerda was in love with Wolfgang. Boy, do I feel stupid or what.
Okay. Now we can go into her room though.
Gerda's at the church. I don't want to go back into Gerda's bedroom. She might catch me in there.
Damn.
Gerda's at the church. Gerda's at...
Let's
Gerda...
take the keys. Oh. Ah, I see what we gotta do here, huh? This feels a bit random. Oh no, wrong exit. Down in there again. Okay. Now we can take some flowers. She's feeling guilty for being such a nasty person to Grid. So let's take some flowers. Only one? Maybe 3? But not 4, right? The rule of 3. The power of 3. Okay. Here we go. Speed Sonic. In there. Fast. Hurry. Before she dies. Here. 4 roses. But you only picked 3. Three! It's not 4, it's 3! Inventory, you were wrong!
There. That's better, don't you think? I'm so sorry. I was an idiot.
Gabriel and I, we never...
I know. It's my fault. It's Gabriel's fault. He never tells me anything. I don't know why he didn't want me on this case.
Maybe he just...
Don't even try to make excuses for him. Still, he's up to his neck in it, I think. Will you help me out with something?
Leadership, huh?
Of course.
I have to do some research on Ludwig. I want to go see some of his castles.
Take Gabriel's car.
Finally, we get the keys.
There's a map of southern Bavaria in the car. Ludwig's castles are all marked.
Thanks.
Good luck.
I don't want.
Thank you.
At least I.
Come on here. Keys. Hurry! We got the power! Now we just need 3.21 gigawatts. Or was it? No, 3.2 gigawatts. Rittersberg, Herren Chimsi.
These scenes seem to tell a story, but I have no idea what
It
story.
kind of looks like Wayland, if you ask me.
The paintings in this room are from the Siegfried
Oh, Siegfried.
saga.
I don't think the guards want to be bothered while on duty.
Oh, that's a guard.
I wonder where that door leads.
The closed door leads to the tower, which is not part
Okay,
of the
thank you,
tour.
Tortip.
The king was making his way to this very door when he was arrested in 1886.
I don't think the guards want to be bothered while
Oh,
on
that must
duty.
be a lady. I was like, is that really a guard? Like, yeah, it makes sense. Lady guard.
Did they have running water in 1886? Did they have running water in 1886? Maybe Ludwig thought all this luxury would help him sleep. It's a beautiful crucifix. It's a beautiful crucifix. Ivory and gold. That's an unusual depiction of the Madonna. These linens look seriously expensive.
The miracle of the Grail.
The Holy Grail, huh?
Grace Nakamura. These linens look...
Oh, we found a swan.
The swan motif is featured throughout the castle, but it is particularly prominent in this room. Both the swan and the lily were symbols Ludwig associated with himself. They represented his ideals of majesty and purity. The painting behind the swan shows Lohengrin's arrival.
Nice piano.
Pretty nice place to work. I don't think the guards want to be bothered while on duty.
The study paintings depict scenes from the Tannhäuser Saga and the Wartburg Castle.
No. No, not the exit. Oh, how did we get there? Ah.
I don't think the guards want to be bothered while on duty. Why would Ludwig have wolf paintings in his castle? Why would Ludwig...
Nani? Wait.
I don't think the guards want to be bothered.
Our tour begins in the entry hall. Ludwig II lived from 1845 to 1886. He assumed the Bavarian throne at the age of 18 when his father died. Ludwig's passion was building castles. He built 3 during his lifetime: Linderhof, Herrenchiemsee, and Neuschwanstein. In addition to his obsession with building, Ludwig also had a passion for classical heroic German mythology a taste he shared with the German opera composer Richard Wagner. Neuschwanstein is decorated throughout with themes from these stories, most of which directly relate to Wagner's operas.
Nanny?
I wonder why Ludwig was going to the tower that... These scenes seem to tell a story, but I have no idea what story.
The paintings in this room are from the Siegfried saga.
Did they have running water in 1880s?
You are now standing in the king's bedroom. The theme of the bedroom is Tristan and Isolde, the tragic love story retold in Wagner's opera. The opera was given its first performance in Munich in 1865, and a 20-year-old Ludwig attended. This is probably the most elaborate and expensive bedroom ever created. It took 14 woodcarvers 4.5 years to create this room. It was this kind of extravagance that bankrupted the king. In the years before his death, he found it increasingly difficult to find money from any source. This is Ludwig's private chapel. The king was a devout Catholic, as were all of the Wittelsbacher rulers. They supported the Roman Church even when other European countries were dominated by Protestantism. The stained glass window depicts St. Louis receiving the last sacraments. This is the king's living room. The walls are decorated with scenes from the Lohengrin saga. The king first saw Wagner's opera Lohengrin when he was 16, and it so affected him that he considered it a form of enlightenment. The tragedy of Lohengrin was his essential loneliness. This, too, was Ludwig's own fate. Ludwig withdrew more and more into his fantasy world of epic heroes and absolute monarchy. An ideal he was determined to create in his castles if he could not have it in his real life. He only wanted to be alone with his dreams, so much so that even his servants were kept at a distance and were not allowed to look at him.
What were you afraid they'd see?
Alright, let's do this.
I don't think the guards want to be...
If you're in here, who is... Ah, you're in there now.
More swans.
The swan motif is featured throughout the castle, but it is particularly prominent in this room. Both the swan and the lily were symbols Ludwig associated with himself. They represented his ideals of majesty and purity. The painting behind the swan shows Lohengrin's arrival. This is a reproduction of the grotto from the Tannhäuser saga. In such places, Ludwig would pretend he was one of his beloved mythic heroes. As the grotto personifies, the castles were solitary playgrounds built for Ludwig alone. He believed the masses were too coarse to appreciate fine art, and he seldom entertained guests. In fact, Ludwig had a standing order that upon his death, the castles were to be destroyed. Fortunately, the estate was in such debt that the castles were opened for paying tours only weeks after Ludwig's death. They haven't closed since. It is one of the great ironies of Ludwig's story that the castles that he was thought insane for building are now considered Bavaria's finest treasures. They have paid for their construction many times over.
I can almost picture Ludwig in here. I wonder what he really dreamt about in this room.
This is the king's study. Ludwig spent much time at his desk writing letters, drawing up plans for his projects, and studying his favorite authors. He loved poetry, history, and the classics. In later years, he also studied the occult. What affairs of state he did reluctantly attend to, were generally attended to alone at his desk in writing. His reluctance to meet with his heads of state and perform the duties of the king were one of the reasons for the charges brought against him in 1886. But Ludwig dreamt of true kingship and a true monarchy, and the small powers left to him after Bavaria succeeded power to Prussia only incited his disdain and frustration.
Oh, no, not exit.
The study paintings depict scenes from the Tannhäuser Saga and the Wartburg Castle. The study paintings depict scenes from the Tannhäuser Saga and the Wartburg Castle. The study paintings depict scenes from the Tannhäuser Saga and the Wartburg Castle. This is the final room of our tour, the Singers' Hall. It was modeled after the Singers' Hall of the Wartburg Castle, where minstrel competitions were held in the 13th century. The hall was built for small private concerts, but Ludwig himself never gave one here. It is said that during the last few years of Wagner's life, he came to Neuschwanstein frequently and performed for the king alone in this room. The hall is probably best known for its enigmatic wolf paintings. The original paintings were from the Parsifal saga, but in 1882, Ludwig had them replaced, supplying the description and titles of the new paintings himself. While all the other rooms in the castle show scenes from Wagner's operas, the scenes in this room are not from any opera that anyone can identify. It is yet another of the many mysteries associated with the life of the fairy tale king. The hunters track down Engelhard and Hildegunde. Engelhard and the blacksmith. Engelhard courts Hildegunde. Hildegunde's imprisonment. The wedding feast of Hildegunde and the Baron. The Death of Engelhart.
I can't see the displays until I've gotten past the counter. I can't see the displays until...
Oh. Wait, what?
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Ich hätte gern eine Eintrittskarte fürs Museum.
Ja, 8 Mark für eine Ganztagskarte. So,
Danke.
bitte.
July 3rd, 1863. Elizabeth, you can have no idea, dear cousin, how happy you made me. The hours recently passed with you in the railway carriage I consider among the happiest in my life. Never will their memory fade. You gave me permission to visit you at Ischl. If the time comes for this ardent hope to be fulfilled, I shall be of all men upon earth the most blessed. The feelings of sincere love and reverence and faithful attachment to you, which I cherished in my heart even as a boy, makes me imagine heaven upon earth and will be extinguished by death alone. I beg you with all my heart to forgive the contents of this letter, but I could not help myself. Ludwig. They certainly make an incredible-looking couple. Elizabeth frequently gave Ludwig advice on royal conduct, hoping to protect him from unfavorable public opinion. March 1st, 1865. My dearest Eagle, you have not written me in a few months. I have missed you. I often try to imagine what you are doing. I hear tales that you have been on retreat and have not been seen in Munich for some time. I suspect it is this new friend you wrote up so mysteriously that takes you away from home. I hope you are enjoying yourself, my beloved, but I beg you to caution. The people need to see you at the throne. I also hesitate to suggest that what your officials do in your absence may not always be in your own best interest. You have always been a true king, but you must let the people see you to ensure that they don't forget that. E. Your dove. Ludwig's friends were concerned for his mental state long before his arrest. June 14th, 1878. My beloved Eagle, in your last letter you spoke so movingly of your torment that I was moved to tears. What is this torment? Why won't you confess to me what is truly troubling you? You must know that I would never despise you, no matter how horrible you believe your sins to be. Please do not write such barbs to my heart by even suggesting such things. If you do not wish to confess to me, at least tell me how I can aid you. I am always your true one, your dove. They certainly make an incredible looking couple. They certainly make an incredible looking couple. Ludwig's friends were concerned for his mental state. June 14. In this letter, dated November 1886, Elizabeth of Austria thanks Bishop Frank for his assistance in helping her fulfill Ludwig's last wishes. She writes that she knows it was an unusual request, but she believes Ludwig had reasons of his own for wishing it to be done. She hopes that his spirit finds peace at last. No further reference to this letter has ever been found. One can only speculate what the last wishes of a cornered and embattled Ludwig might have been.
What were his last wishes? This place is giving me more questions than answers.
Kappa.
One of Ludwig's few close friends was Empress Elizabeth of Austria. She was a distant cousin of the boy Prince, and he saw her often growing up. Graceful and beautiful, Elizabeth seemed to represent the feminine ideal to the younger Ludwig. Their friendship continued after her marriage, mainly by correspondence. She remained a source of stability for Ludwig throughout his life. In keeping with Ludwig's love of romance and drama, he called her the Dove, and he to her was the Eagle. June 7th, 1886. A group of men arrive at Neuschwanstein Castle, demanding to take the king in custody. With them is Dr. Guden, the doctor who had been in charge of Otto, the king's mentally ill brother. The men have an order for the king's arrest on the grounds of insanity. They are refused admittance by a brave group of farmers and local soldiers who have come to Ludwig's aid. They are forced to retreat to nearby Hohenschwangau. This is the first Ludwig hears of the conspiracy. Ludwig composes a pamphlet explaining the subversive acts of the conspirators and eloquently pleading with his people for aid. The pamphlet is smuggled out of Neuschwanstein and printed, but the pamphlets are seized before they can be distributed. June 12, 1886. Ludwig knows the conspirators will return. He despairs. He asks his servant for the keys to the tower. The servant, fearing the king intends suicide, says the key is lost. Unbeknownst to Ludwig, the conspirators arrive at the castle. This time, there is no one to stop them. Ludwig is lured from his bedroom to the entry hall of Neuschwanstein on pretense. There, he is taken into custody. Ludwig is taken by carriage from Neuschwanstein to Berg, where his brother Otto had long been imprisoned. This is a great blow to the king's state of mind. While on the way, the group stops at Seeshaupt to change horses. Ludwig asks to see the postmistress, Frau Vogel. She brings him a glass of water and he says something to her. She never reveals these last words to anyone. June 12th, unbeknown, June 18th, 1886. Ludwig's funeral procession marches through the streets of Munich, followed by enormous crowds of mourners. The service is held at a packed St. Michael's church. Lightning strikes the church during the service, but no one is harmed. Ludwig's body is entombed in the Wittelsbach crypt at St. Michael's. His heart is placed in an urn in the pilgrimage chapel at Altötting in the Wittelsbach tradition. The urn is shown to the right. June 18th, 1886. I have no idea what that says. Looks old, though. I have no idea. Maybe Mrs. Smith will know what my dream meant. I have to ask someone. This thing is getting too weird. The midnight sleigh rides. Ludwig went on long sleigh rides in the middle of the night, particularly in his later years. It is said that he suffered from insomnia, headaches, and toothaches, and the rides soothed his restlessness. The sight of the king's grand sleigh speeding through the countryside of the Alps often startled the peasants and became a superstitious omen of ill fortune. I can see why. But what was he doing out there at night? The midnight... Ludwig's death mask. Wow. December 14th, 1881, Linderhof. Order another work by Jennings on the occult. Write urgently to Klug saying that I insist that the stoppages by the bank cease. I want it, and therefore it must be done. Write very urgently. He must succeed at once, and then must report to me urgently. If I give orders to clear my room, doing so must not be postponed as it happened. Pencils must be pointed without special orders. The day after tomorrow, 1,000 marks. How is Louis now? I want to know whether he looks unhappy. How often have I said that the coffee must not come up boiling hot, so that it can only be drunk after standing an hour? If any more correspondence come from Louis, they are to be burnt immediately, but I am to be informed of their arrival. These are actual notes from Ludwig to his servants. They go far in showing the king's state of mind. They were smuggled out and used as evidence in compiling the order for Ludwig's arrest. December 18th, 1881, Linderhof. Every day get up earlier for certain. See to that very particularly. Write it down. Remember that when the great friend arrives at Neuschwanstein, we retire to the hall. We are not to be disturbed. I will not tolerate interference or insubordination. Ludwig is Prince Charming.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Ist das die Ludwig Museum?
Ja, ja. Ludwig der Zweite von Bayern.
Looks like we're done here. Wait, I missed one? No, we missed one. Which one did we miss?
Ludwig embarking on his sleigh. December 14th. If I give orders to clear my room, doing so must not... These are actual notes from Ludwig to his servants. December 18th, June 18th, 1886. Ludwig's body.
Yeah, we definitely read these.
June 3rd, when Ludwig... I don't have anything to say to her. One of Ludwig's few close friends...
Yeah, we've already read that one.
I don't have any...
Hey. What? What? It crashed and... Oh no, I haven't saved in a long time. Oh, how could you? I never had a Scum VM game crash on me before. Holy shit, this is big actually. Autosave. When did... No, autosave. Oh no.
I don't have anything else to say to this.
Oh, this is so much. This is so much. How could you? Oh, I should have saved.
Ludwig in a hunt. Ludwig in is a hunt. Other than when they would. A good example. The king. The man. The king. In many of the.
Check. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Gerda's here. Boy, do I feel stupid. I don't. Grace. I'll leave. I really.
We got keys. There we go. Okay, let's begin here. Okay, first of all, also, let's make a save so that this shit doesn't happen again.
I don't have anything to say to her at the moment. July 3rd, 1860.
Ah. Oh boy. At least we saved the game this time. This is bad, actually. Having the crash happening like this.
No further reference to this letter has ever been.
Oh,
What were his last wishes? This place is giving me more questions than answers.
They cert.
save.
One of Ludwig's.
She's beautiful.
Ah, this is the room we missed.
Ludwig's Grand Master wardrobe. Looks like it weighs a ton. Richard Wagner. Ludwig's diary. Ludwig kept a diary from 1869 when he was 24 years old until his death. The diary provides a fast... I've got to see that diary.
And save again, since we found this place. It's hard to find.
Signets and sash pins from the Order of the Knights of St. George. These were worn on Ludwig's uniform, as befitted his rank of Grand Master. They are now the property of the Bavarian Crown Treasury. He looks so regal. Ludwig is Grand Master of the Knights of St. George. The Knights of St. George was an aristocratic society dedicated to the acts of chivalry. Ludwig loved the medieval pageantry of the order in his early years, before his increasing reclusiveness drove him to abandon public... There's gotta be a connection between all this St. George stuff. He looks so regal. Even after Wagner's death, Ludwig still showed signs of obsession with the composer. This letter, written in 1882 by Ludwig to the conductor of the Munich Opera, instructs the conductor to make preparations for a new Wagner opera. The conductor went to see the king as instructed. When he arrived, Ludwig was ill and refused to see him. Nothing further was ever heard of this mysterious new opera. Ludwig is offered a crown of laurels by the genius of immortal fame. 26 July 1874. By the power of the lily, we shall have the strength to resist all temptations throughout the whole year. 26 July 1875. Solemn oath before the picture of the great king. Refrain for 3 months from all excitement. This oath has its binding power as well as its potency by de par le Roy, LNR, DPLR. What excitement!
Okay, now we need to save before it crashes in this weird place.
Typical artist.
There we go. Okay.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Im Museum ist ein Brief von Ludwig über eine neue Wagner-Oper.
Ja, ja, ich kenne diesen Brief.
Wo kann ich mehr von dieser Wagner-Oper sehen?
Ja, ich weiß nichts über Wagner. Das hier ist kein Wagner-Museum.
Ja, ich weiß.
In Bayreuth befindet sich ein Wagner-Museum. Versuchen Sie es halt doch, ne?
Bayreuth. Danke. Ludwigs Tagebuch im Museum?
Ja,
Wo kann ich Ludwigs Tagebuch hier anschauen?
die Tagebücher sind ganz persönlich. Die sind in den königlichen Archiven. Niemand darf die lesen.
Aber-
Nein, niemand darf die lesen.
Danke. Ist das die Ludwig Museum?
Ja, ja,
Ja, ja.
Ludwig der Zweite.
Okay, there we go. Okay, no crashes so far. That is good. Wagner Museum. Ah, nice. Wait, no. That's not where we wanted to go. Here we go. We need to go through all of the tapes again after that crash in Hadenschmi.
Arthur Ludwig, in addition, the paint.
These see.
The painting. You are now stand. It was this.
Did they have?
Scenes from the. This is.
It's a beautiful cruise.
The stained glass. The stained glass.
The Black Madonna of Altadine.
Scenes.
We're all done for those.
This
We
the
kind of like
Ludwig.
speed
What were
doing
you-
this because we've already done all of these before.
The
It
mirror.
took like half an hour, and then the game crashed and we hadn't saved. Like we got an error message in the scum VM part of the like, yeah.
These
Okay,
linens
yeah.
look.
This as the. In fact, it is more.
We need to go back because
The swan. The paint. This is the king. The Ludwig. This is the his reluctance.
no.
The study. The study. The study.
I wonder why he would.
There we go. Not much left until we get back to the place where we were before.
This is the hall.
Okay,
The hall.
good.
Why would Ludwig have wolf paint? What?
Go.
Engelhard. The hunters.
Now get to the other side.
Hildegund. The wedding. The death of.
Okay.
Ludwig's childhood cat.
Nice view of the
Yeah.
Alps.
Yeah, that was everything in that place. Okay, nice. Now we're back to normal. Oh, okay. Let's go over there then. Uh-oh.
Grüß Gott.
Guten Tag. Ist das die Wagner Museum?
Ja, you're an American, aren't you? I'm afraid the house is closed this time of year. It will be open next month.
Crap.
You are interested in Wagner?
Very interested. Very recently very interested.
Yeah. Most of the house is closed for cleaning, but a few rooms are open. I shouldn't let you probably, but if it is only you, you are alone, aren't you?
Endlessly.
Come in and look around.
That's very generous. What do I owe you?
Georg Immerding. There's only a few displays. Besides, I wouldn't be much of a shining knight if I charged you.
Thanks, Georg. My name is Grace.
Hello. Have a good time.
Wagner's piano. On this piano, the maestro composed his later operas, including The Ring. Wagner's
Oh, they did the Lord of the Ring. Nice. I have to do some stuff now in preparations for tomorrow. But I'll be gone for like 20 or 30 minutes at most. I just need to buy some tickets and so on for tomorrow. So I have to go out for a bit fast to do it. But yeah, I'll be back in around 9 or in around 30 minutes, I think. Yeah, I think so. 30 minutes from now. So I'll be back soon and see ya in a little bit. Yeah. Toodaloo. Be back soon.